All right, fantastic. Hello, everybody, and welcome to CONSERVATISH, episode 186. My name is Peter Feliciano. Find me on Instagram right now, or I'll find you and I'll kill you. I'll literally tear the cheek off of your face in front of your children, and I'll spit into your throat. Okay, so you have to find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano or at CONSERVATISH. That's my backup, because soon the white liberals in the Bay Area who know what's best for you are going to kill my first Instagram account, Peter_Feliciano. So do both. You can also find me on YouTube at youtube.com/rule62pete. And if you want to support my podcast and music, go to patreon.com/conservatish. And lastly, make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. And my music on the music front, I was going to come out with a cover song a couple of days ago. Not doing that. Instead, my birthday is on June 10th, 2021. I will turn 35. My God. And that's when I'm going to be putting out a song. It's an 80s song. Should I tell it now? No, I'm not going to tell it now. But it's going to be it's a big deal. So keep a lookout for that. And if you want to Venmo me from my birthday as well, it's Venmo at Peter-Feliciano. Ladies and gentlemen and sirs, we have the wonderful Robbie Stevenson on the show today. Yay!
Hello. Hello. Oh, hello.
I'm so happy that you're here, sir. It is a great gift.
Yeah, I'm not dead, so there's that.
Are you sure? Because you do with the white hair, I could see you as not a dead person, but almost like a Mortal Kombat character. You know what I mean? It's very Raiden-ish.
If I was a Mortal Kombat character, my finishing move would just be sitting on a couch eating Cheetos.
Yeah. You could do that. Yeah.
Maybe later.
Oh, maybe later. And Toasty would actually be someone who brings you a toast, someone who brings you a Pop-Tart.
I haven't played those games since the 90s, so you've lost me.
No, dude, I can't. I don't understand people who are like deep into. Are you deep into gaming at all or no?
Not at all. Not at all.
I don't understand people who do. Like, I've got too much shit to do. Like, I don't know. I like vagina a lot. Maybe that's the reason why.
Well, yeah. I've got my girlfriend for that, so that's great. But like, I don't play video games. I'm pretty sure that'll come up. But like, between not having the attention span and what I did in active addiction, I can't play video games like I used to. Yeah, so
that makes sense. Meth ruins lots of things, apparently.
Meth ruins a lot of things, right? Yeah.
Well, before we get into the meth, where can people find you, sir?
Basically, I just have my YouTube channel, which is Mental Health, which is hard to find because of the album by Quiet Riot by the same name, right? So, but I think I fit the name better because being a schizophrenic, recovering drug addict comedian with my show where I interview people in metal bands, I think that fits Mental Health a little bit better.
Absolutely. So they can find.
So that's kind of like my logo. This is a crate for records, and my friend made that for me.
It's a very nice logo.
Yeah.
And then you're on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter.
I do have Instagram for Mental Health, but I hardly ever go there, and I don't post things because I hate doing all this computer shit. Basically, Mental Health is there for anyone who wants to come and see the things, but I mostly just do it self-centeredly for myself to keep me busy and do awesome things that I enjoy doing. So yeah.
And it's fun talking to metal people. It's fun.
Yeah. Like I love metal. I love comedy, and I have schizophrenia, and I'm a recovering drug addict. So I just rolled it all up into one. Mental Health, put the stamp on it, good to go.
Right. Do you play metal at all? Do you?
Not really. I've got I play drums. I have an electric drum kit, but I'm not nearly good for as long as I've been playing.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I understand that. I don't know about. I mean, I've been doing this fucking podcast for like 2.5 years, and already people are like, now, beyond that, though, you also are going to be coming. You're going to be on a new channel starting soon.
Yes. Up here in Canada, we had Much Music instead of MTV down in the States, where you'd watch all the music videos, and we had the VJs who would do the throws in between music videos, talking about them and stuff. Well, one of our VJs was a sock puppet named Ed the Sock. He had green hair. He was smoking a cigar all the time. He was pretty awesome. Actually, he was pretty much the reason why you have your shitting on it, dog. I shit on you, dog.
Triumph the insult.
Whatever his name is, I'm not going to dignify that with talking about him,
Right.
But so Ed the Sock, after he left Much Music, when like the CEOs or whatever decided that like, hey, we're just going to feed the people garbage because they're too stupid to know anything better, right? So he's starting up his new music video channel, which is called New Music Nation, and I'm the metal VJ.
Fucking great, man. That's a big deal. Have you met the hand inside the sock yet, or has it?
Yes, I have. The man inside the sock, his name is Steven Kersner.
Okay, does he look like the sock?
Does he have green hair and smokes a cigar? I've never seen him smoke a cigar, and he doesn't have any hair. He's like you.
I like him already.
Yeah, right.
I don't appreciate that you are pointing out a sensitive topic for me. So
yeah. So are you gonna cancel me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The baldest.
All right. Well,
and then
because your insecurities are making you insecure, you should probably cancel it for everyone else too. Is that what you're saying?
No, your insecurities are making me insecure. You're the what? I don't know.
What are you talking about?
What
are you talking about?
That was an intense hair flip. Holy shit.
You got it, so you might as well use it, right?
Yeah, I do the same thing with my pube hair.
Yeah.
I wrap it around and I style it, dye it pink. And you have Shake Your Booty up on the top to your left or our right.
Yes.
By Frank Zappa, and Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails on your right, our left. You have an extensive record collection. God bless your heart.
Well, yeah. You see, the thing is, when I was stopping drugs, I started to buy vinyl, right? So my joke about that is, we'll just do this quick and get it out of the way, is I buy vinyl records now instead of drugs. So I'm still getting spun, but the good thing is I get to use the same needle over and over and over again.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I also saw one of my favorite. I was telling Mark Hughes. Oh, we met through Mark Hughes.
Yes, that's correct.
My sweet little Canadian boy. And then you sent me that cool. Well, also there was the preview of New Music Nation, but also Comedian Destroys Schizophrenia.
Well, that was me. I'm Robbie Stevenson. So basically what I did was I made a video of like, because I've been doing stand-up for like 10 years. You can see a video from before I was diagnosed, when I was like 24, like normal energy levels and stuff. And then right after I was diagnosed, and between the meds and jumping in front of a truck, I jumped in front of a truck. You could see how I had like 10% cognitive abilities. So I was like this and couldn't show emotions or barely talk at all, so it was more like this. And then you get to slowly see where I go from there. So it was actually, yeah, I'm proud of that video. It turned out pretty well.
Yeah, it did. I liked it, especially the clip where you're talking about, I'm not going to make you do bits, but there's that one where you're making out with the lady in the wheelchair. You say,
the prostitute, the 65-year-old prostitute in a wheelchair with herpes and no legs.
Yeah, you say, see how I'm holding the wheel? That establishes dominance. I fucking died.
That clip was from when I was all methed out, because like I gained so much weight because of the meds that like I decided to take stimulants myself to try to, don't be your own doctor. It doesn't work out. We'll just put it that way. But yeah, I was just spun on meth on that set, and you could tell it was pretty clear cut.
Right.
I was talking real fast. And blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Right. Now, normally when people, especially, how long did it take you? Obviously, it complicated. Meth tends to complicate matters. But how long did it take you to get stable on the meds? Because sometimes it's like the wrong cocktail or the not enough or too much or whatever. How long did it take you to get stable?
They gave me they started off. They gave me this drug that takes a month to kick in. But I basically was still in psychosis, and I jumped in front of a truck, and then I spent a month in the psych ward. I like got slowly out of psychosis there, but I was on an injection. I think that was like Sustena or something. And that made me gain a lot of weight, and I was really tired, like no cognitive abilities. Yeah. So basically to get stable, like there's I went to drugs pretty quick, but like, because I was already dabbling in them, but like that was when like you're just covered in shame from jumping in front of a truck with being suicidal and living, and just I couldn't do any work because I was so tired from my meds. But but like with the job I had, like they still wouldn't fire me because of my labels, and yeah,
How
it
big?
was it was something.
Yeah, that sucks. How big was the truck?
It was a Dodge Ram. I did $2,600 worth of damage to it.
Jesus. Okay. Now, how long? And I appreciate you piecing this together. You know, you can pause me at any time if you want me to. But how long in between making the decision and doing it? Obviously, it slowly percolates. Suicidal thoughts. I've definitely had them. It slowly percolates over a little while. But how soon between? All right, this I'm really doing it and jumping.
Well, to be honest, since around grade 7, I've had suicidal thoughts. But there was that, and but like from what you're talking about, from when I jumped in front of the truck, for me with my schizophrenia, I have false memories, delusions, and in my delusions, I had to kill myself to save someone else, and so a Mack truck went by, and I was like, shit, I had these memories. I was supposed to jump in front of that Mack truck, and then a Dodge Ram came right after it, so I Superman across. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know really for a time frame for like choosing to try and after that, but yeah, it is what it is.
Right.
I haven't felt good until about like maybe 6 months ago, and it'll be like 9 years in October since I was like diagnosed, or November. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So
And you got sober about a year ago, right? A little over a year.
I joined a sewing club, as our friend would put it, a secret sewing club, December 2018, right?
Okay.
And I've had a few slips, but like I'd always go straight to the meth if I was gonna slip, because in my head I was like, I'm not gonna slip on pot or drinking, you know. Like if I'm gonna slip, let's make it decent, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah. But all right, yeah. But like when I was like heavily in active addiction, when I do my meth, I couldn't. I had to do everything that was in front of me, so I tried to just buy smaller amounts, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I'd do my meth, and then I would play Black Ops 1, the zombies from Call of Duty. I would play the downloadable map, Call of the Dead, and I would do that for 12 hours. And then it was like, okay, I could probably come soon if I start jerking off now. So then I jerk off for another 12 hours.
I love because I relate not necessarily to the meth thing, but I relate on to unmanageability of all shapes and sizes. You know, I'm 19 years sober myself, so
Oh,
I
wow.
get it. But like, I just love the fucked up thoughts that we have. Like, and I think a lot of even non-alcoholic, non-addicts have feelings like that, have thoughts like that, but like not to the level that we do.
No.
I don't think so.
So then I'd masturbate for 12 hours, do more meth, and do it all over again. So there was that.
Why wouldn't you? Why
Yeah,
would
right. You just get into our rituals, our cycles.
right? Have you ever talked to the guy who drove the Ford or the
The
Dodge?
Dodge Ram? No, but all right. His wife was also mentally ill, wouldn't get back into the truck after I jumped in front of it. So we ended up buying a brand new truck off my dad the very next day at the Dodge dealership.
Wow.
Yeah, so my joke about that is maybe next time business gets low.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
When did you start doing comedy?
About 10 years ago, I was probably like 24. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, that's when I started doing it like more than just like once a year and not knowing about open mics and stuff, and actually really starting to get at it. Yeah. And but yeah, it was tough because like especially like basically I'm just rehashing stuff I said in that video, but like my brain was like in molasses, right, from all the meds, because like the antipsychotics just basically slow down your thoughts and stop thoughts sometimes. So like before I'd be like in the middle of a conversation and I'd forget a word that I was trying to say, and then I'd just keep on trying to remember that word, and it would slow down things too. It got to the point where I couldn't write comedy as well as I wanted to, and then adding drug addiction onto that, I wasn't coming up with anything that would make anyone else laugh. So I ended up doing the same set over and over and over again for years, and I'd slowly incorporate jokes because I would slowly come up with a decent one.
How would you keep yourself on track during the set?
I'd do the same jokes and the same routine that I had been for years, right? So like once I was there, I'd just do the same set over and over again. And yeah, you don't really get far with that because if you're not willing to take a risk, then you're not coming up with new jokes and failing and learning from failing.
Right. When did you start coming out of that? Not the molasses mentally, maybe, but the molasses of writing.
Also when like it was getting a little bit better because I'd like stop drugs and then focus on like comedy and stuff for as long as I could. But even then I was still smoking. Like by the end, like my girlfriend and I, we were going through like a half pound, like my ex-girlfriend, we were going through like a half pound in a month, maybe of pot. Just yeah, it was like being high the entire time. Because for me, it was like when I would smoke pot, if I hadn't been smoking the pot recently, then I'd go like boosting into psychosis, right? So then once I was up there, I try to keep smoking as much pot as I could because I knew I was going to just end up smoking again. And then I don't want to have that boost of scary paranoia, psychosis. And then I just lived in psychosis for years. But like, when did I slowly start getting out of it? Like, as far as writing jokes and getting better, it was really once I quit everything and joined the sewing club.
Right.
But and like I wasn't really I lowered my dosage on my meds on myself, not talking to doctors also. So yeah, there's that too, because life isn't really worth living for me when I feel like a zombie, and like the more I feel like a zombie, the more I want to do drugs to counteract that, because yeah, it just ends up being like a snowballing effect, and it's not good for me at all.
Right. I do like, and I appreciate you talking about that, because that's another thing Mark and I talk about a lot is even though we're sober, it doesn't mean we're just walking on fucking sunshine all the goddamn time. And too often I think we have that idea in our sewing club and outside of it too, that drugs and alcohol are the problem. And once we put down the drugs and alcohol, no more problem. And that's not my experience. I'm worse off. My fear, my anxiety. Now I have a spiritual program now and I do the stuff and it's so much better even than it was fucking a year ago. But I wouldn't have started doing the stuff the way I was doing the stuff unless I was so uncomfortable in sobriety anyway. So the idea that the alcohol and drugs were my solution, not my problem. If drugs and alcohol are your problem, stop, no more problem. But for me, it was my solution, you know. So I appreciate you talking about, not being uncomfortable, because you said, being uncomfortable, because you said you. So how long has you been feeling better for now? 6 months, you said?
Yeah, those 6 months. Like once I like last year, 2020, in like March 30th, I had like a really bad slip relapse where I snorted a half gram of meth all at once. And I was like, because I never did it intravenously and everything like that, because I saw those people and I judge, you know. I mean, sure, they've got a hole in their arm, but I've got a like the fist size hole in my head right now, you know.
Right.
Right? So it was dumb, but yeah. Because when we head into programs like that, sometimes we can be all like, "Oh, I never did this way, so I'm not as bad as you." And no, we're fucked too. No matter what, you're fucked. So you're in the room, you're fucked, right?
Yeah, no one comes to the sewing club because they're having a good fucking time of it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who come to that club who are just, and I don't know what it is. It's not the amount of drugs and alcohol that we do. It's not the length of time. I wouldn't even say it's certainly not the outside consequences. There's an intangible something that makes us either willing to do what everybody else is fucking doing or not willing to do. And it's a weird little switch, and we can't make ourselves switch.
No. Because I was very much a follower to get myself into that situation too, right? Like even if I just not like I just when I was a teen started doing all the really hard drugs real quick. It was being around those people and then slowly picking up harder drugs as I went along. And there's that aspect of it too. So like for me, it's like I was very much a follower and never secure with my surroundings, with friendships and stuff like that too. So that was always a big part. And like pity friends never help anyone, right? Because like I was friends with the person because of pity a bit, you know, and then I end up doing all the same drugs he's doing, then I end up picking up pity friends, and there's just like it's just another snowball.
Right, right. Let's get into comedy a little bit. Now, obviously, your perception of your experience for that couple of years that you were doing the same routine over and over, the same bits, the same set. In your experience, when along in your life, it's a hackneyed fucking question. I apologize, everybody, because I'm such a wonderful interviewer every other time. But when did you start thinking, I think I want to get on stage? What was it for you?
I would have been like 23 or just turning 24. I went to one of those amateur nights, and they sucked. Like they were calling themselves comedians, and they sucked so hard.
Right.
It's like, well, if you can do that, I can definitely do that. And then I started doing it.
Right.
And that was basically how it started.
Right.
It was like, I've been funny because like I was a fat kid growing up, you know, I'd do the Chris Farley fat guy in a little coat, just trying to make people laugh before they could make fun of me and make me, you know, like, you know, so it was like that. And like, so I can still remember a conversation I had when I was in like grade 6 or 7 with a friend over the phone there, back before everyone had their own phone. I said to him, like, I'd like to open up my own comedy club one day. I remember that because like I loved watching Just for Laughs on TV and just watching stand-up comedians. So yeah.
Right.
So basically then when I was like 21ish, I think 21, 23 in between that area, that's when I saw that open mic, and then I did comedy once or twice for a contest. Like I made it to the next round, so I did the second round, and then I didn't do anything for a year because I didn't know about open mics or anything. I just thought, well, it's that one time you do it of the year for the contest. So it was silly and dumb. I didn't know things, and then once I found out about the open mics and the amateur nights, and then I took it from there. So no.
Right. How long do you feel when you look back on it? Not overly self-pitying or overly arrogant, either way. How long do you feel that it took you to get funny?
Well, like the odd jokes were funny, and like depending on the crowd, sometimes like you'd have a great set. Like from that video, you'd have to see the video. I know you did, Peter, but everyone else. But I was like maybe 24 in that video, and that set basically every joke had a pop. Like every joke in that set had a pop. So like that was the set that made me like, okay, I want to keep doing this. Before then, you'd have a joke here and there that would get a good laugh, but other than that, it wasn't consistent. And then once I could start getting consistent and started writing new jokes and stuff that weren't always good, you know, but you just keep on trying different things. And I've had friends before that were like, hey, you should be a stand-up comedian. And, you know, eventually I did end up trying it. So that was that. Since when I got good, I really feel like there was times where I'd have a really good set. And because of where I was located, I could go 2 hours one way and go to Ottawa, which is the nation's capital, do comedy there. Or I could go 2 hours the other way and do comedy in Toronto, which is the biggest city in Canada. So basically, I ruined a Dodge Dart. I call it the Dart because I smoked so many darts in it. But like, what was it? Like a 2013 Dodge Dart, just ruined it. And put so many kilometers on it just because I'd go to Ottawa and Toronto like once or twice or more than that a week.
I don't like your Canadian's language. I don't want to, don't put kilometers in my podcast.
Oh, sorry. Less than a mile. I don't know.
Yeah. I was talking with Mark. I was talking with Mark earlier today, and he said, "Oh, the premier." I'm like, "Get the fuck off the phone with me. I don't want to hear the premier."
The Canadian president. There you go. No, the president of Ontario. Yeah.
Right. Well, the governor. I think
there you go. Whatever your terms are down there.
Yeah. Here's one of the only things before I met Mark, and I realized just the depths of how horrible Canadians could be. Love you more.
Just because there's more of you guys, you know, that's why.
Well, yeah. But one of my opinions about Canadians was that Canadians, for the most part, are good tippers. Like, they're nice people, they're generous people, they'll talk to you, whatever. Apparently, except for in Vancouver, like they'll be whatever. Except when it comes to opinions about other provinces, you'll be weirdly like aggressive.
It doesn't have to be other provinces. It could be a town like 20 to half an hour to the next town, right? It doesn't matter. Like, oh, Napanee, those guys suck.
Right.
No?
Right.
Yeah.
We'll be talking along about this and sports and this and that and pussy and comedy and whatever, and all of a sudden they'll say you mentioned Newfoundland and they're fucking Newfies, blah blah blah. Jesus.
Yeah, right.
Nowhere. But anyway, I want to piece apart a little bit more comedy because you obviously, I do want to put it out there. A couple of things. You had the experience that you didn't feel confident. Like, when you look back on it, it took a while to get good at comedy. It took a while.
Oh yeah. Like, confidence in anything I had. I was a weak, feeble person in general. I was the type that would put way too much gel in my hair, trying to, like, so to the point where being like a Lego man, you know, like back in the 2000s. Like, it was just dumb, like just trying to, like, oh, I've got to wear cologne. I'd put like 3-4 squirts of cologne on, just just totally dumb, and not with it at all as far as culturally, I guess, you know, and the times. I had zero confidence. So once I started doing half decent in comedy, I basically treated it like it was a champagne glass pyramid. You know, it was empty. I put stand-up comedy at top, started pouring, and just hoped for the best. That was basically how it happened.
Right. And part of the reason why I wanted to piece that apart is because a lot of people online are saying things like it's a classic abusive move, what they're doing, what the left and what woke people are doing to Tony Hinchcliffe. It's a classic fucking move.
Taking a little piece and then yeah. They did it with the Covington kid too, and now he's over $100 million too. So, like, hopefully Tony can get something like that out of it.
Right.
He needs to.
But what these abusive dummies are all, or a lot of them are doing is, but it wasn't even funny. But it wasn't even funny. None of you fucking people, and we'll get to the comedians and how horrendous, morally repugnant they are. Yeah. But none of you are funny. If you're not funny, I don't want to hear your opinion on what is funny or not. I don't. Because the reality is, if you take your time, if you get on stage, the main thing to make a set funny, to make a bit funny, you have to try it on people over and over and over, and move a word here and put a punchline here and say fuck there, or don't say fuck there, and that makes it funny. And then try this and try that and try this and try that. It takes a long fucking time just to understand the process of how to do that as a comedian, much less work out a bit. So if you're a non-comedian,
not only to try it as a comedian, but then try to put your own spin on it too, so it's not like everyone else. Right.
Right. So if you're a non-comedian, you're saying, Tony Hinchcliffe, it wasn't even funny. Suck my dick until you die. Not
only that, but like, listen to the crowd. The crowd was laughing. I heard laughs in the clip. Like,
right. And another side note, Ari Shaffir put out the long version, and
I
then
saw
had
that.
all the context before it and after. And what
it makes a lot of sense.
Right. Because the Peng Dang, or whatever the fuck his stupid name is, said was making jokes about white people that whole time. So when Tony Hinchcliffe came on being hyperbolic, do you know what hyperbolic means, cocksuckers? He was being hyperbolic, over the top, to make fun of him. It was almost like a callback in reference to what Peng Dang, whatever the fuck, was making fun of white people for. So he's like, he's, and we all know that. We all understand context.
Not only that, but like, when he does that for the Pang guy, like, that's actually showing him how well he did, because comedians would completely ignore you if you didn't do well, and they wouldn't add on to what you're saying or give their side of anything they're saying if you didn't do well. So really, that's more of a compliment to him than anything else.
Right. And another point is, he knows that he's in front of a bunch of people. If Tony Hinchcliffe was actually a racist, do you think he would say it publicly? Do you think that he would literally go and just say, fuck my career? Because Do you understand? Like, of
Yeah.
course he meant, and that's what I hate, or that's why I want to like really get into that, because context is the most important thing here. We are in the comedy club arena, so the context is, if you're on stage trying to say something, you're not, you know, they always say like Tony Hinchcliffe's statements or Tony Hinchcliffe's comments about, no, it was jokes. He was trying to say funny things, and everybody who's not funny, who hasn't, go into a dinner party right now and try to make a fucking joke and watch how everything falls flat and uncomfortable. Okay. I don't want to fucking hear what you think of how he should have phrased it or used yet less words. That's number one.
And if they did, I bet they'd try to do a street joke, which is not stand-up comedy.
No. And the other thing is, if you, a lot of these comedians, because Patrice O'Neal is my favorite comedian, and I'm not a cocksucker, but a lot of cocksuckers, a lot of bullshit fucking faggoty comedians say that Patrice O'Neal is their favorite comic, and then yet want to cancel Tony Hinchcliffe. And if you're that person, I want you to know you are morally repugnant, and no one's gonna really like you. No one's gonna like you. If you're good, like what did Theo Vaughn had a perfect phrase for it? Clout. What is it? Calling out clout comic is now a thing. You're a comic, and you understand how hard it is to be on stage with a ravenous group. This is group psychology 101. You know how hard it is to do that. You know how fast Tony Hinchcliffe had to tap dance to make that work, and yet you're gonna just ham-handed, fine, let him die so I can climb up another rung. Eat a dick until you fucking die.
Well, that's what you don't understand about a lot of like the whole comedy community. There's a lot of ladder climbing friends, as I call them. They're like, if they're under you at all, then hey, buddy, how's it going? Climbing over top. Okay, I'm never talking to that guy again. You know, and that's basically how that works. And then I don't know what it's like in the States, but here it's like there's the two sides. There's woke and edge, and there's the wokes that have no punchlines. They ramble on for 5 minutes. They either get a clap or maybe a potential like a one laugh point in the whole 5 minutes or so. And on the other side, there's edgelords that just try to say the nastiest things with no structure or anything either. So like I hate both of those sides, but what I like it doesn't matter what side you're on, as long as you have structure and it has a punchline at the end and it's an actual joke, I'll laugh, right? Like, yeah, I'm more likely to support Trump, but like hearing all those Trump jokes, a lot of them were just dumb, right? But every now and then there would be a well-structured Trump joke that I'd like and laugh at, even though it was against him and everything. It was a well-structured joke. That's the important part.
Right. And in that same vein, Bonnie McFarlane is one of my favorite comics, right? She's a funny fucking broad. But I hate her politics. Fucking despise. I don't want to hear any of what she thinks as far as Trump and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, if she says it, if it's funny, I can't just put message above art. I'm no fucking Trevor Noah. That's why, and I'm sorry again, everybody. Not really sorry, because it's my fucking show. Eat a dick. Trevor Noah is never anyone's favorite comic, even though there's some white Jews still in the Upper West Side, and the last couple of white Jews in the Upper West Side in Los Angeles were hanging on to Daily Show. No one cares about Daily Show. The ratings have been steadily going down ever since Jon Stewart took over. It's not because we hate halfsies, okay? It's because we don't like pedantic, fucking didactic rants. We don't like people who put message above art. If you put message above art, you're a cunt. I don't want to fucking, we're not imbibing or imbuing value subconsciously. We're not imbuing value to Trevor Noah, and we can't, because he puts message above art. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, and like it doesn't help when you overuse words that should mean more, like calling people a Nazi, right? Like someone calls me a Nazi now, and it's just like, oh, good, I can buy a Burzum album now without feeling guilty.
Which one's Burzum again?
Burzum is Varg, who burned the churches down in Norway and stabbed Euronymous 23 times, did his prison time.
He was a Nazi though?
Yeah, he's a Nazi. He's a full-blown. They took down his YouTube page because he's a Nazi. But like, I like the music and I don't hear a word the guy says, right? So
right.
Sounds cool.
It sounds like Du Hastemich to me. Yeah. But
yeah, that's actually like they're German, but like they aren't Nazi whatsoever because you just talked about Rammstein. So Rammstein, whatever you want to call it.
right. But German, Swedish, or Norway, same thing. They're all, European, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to, just like I'm not going to differentiate between Winnipeg people and Alberta people. I don't care.
Right. There's pretty much like what your two examples there's more land in between those examples we're talking about in Europe too. So
wow, very nice.
Canada's big.
Right. So let's take apart metal a little bit, because I remember that documentary. I don't remember them saying the Nazi thing. I remember they were a little fucked up, and they're not death metal, right?
That's black metal.
That's black metal.
That's like the 90s second generation black metal, because in the 80s there was Venom and Bathory and bands like that, and then in the 90s it was like Mayhem, Dark Throne, Emperor, and Burzum. They had Varg, who did all the music in Burzum, ended up playing bass on a Mayhem album, and once he was in the Mayhem, yeah, actually that whole story, like considering it was a Hollywood movie and they get nothing right ever, Lords of Chaos was not that bad considering it's a Hollywood movie. It wasn't that bad because it basically tells that whole story of Mayhem, the church burnings. There was the vocalist Dead, who he was clearly mentally ill, and Euronymous, the guy who got stabbed to death by Varg, he egged him on to kill himself, right? And basically, and then when he did, he cut his throat and shot himself in the head with a gun, right? With like a rifle. And Euronymous got to the scene first, moved some things around, and was like, wait, I need a camera. Drives 20 minutes so we had a camera, because this was like 1990, right? So gets the camera, takes the pictures, then calls the cops, and then they use that picture on a bootleg album. And
I heard he possibly had tasted him.
Well, he took pieces of the skull to make necklaces for the band too.
Jesus.
Like it's not like he was like, oh, I'm completely innocent and I'm an awesome guy and Varg killed me, right? Like there's that thing with black metal where they all talk about how I was planning on killing Euronymous too, like it's like there's lots of the people in band. It's such a small community. What I find funny is whenever I interview someone in a black metal band, that's the only time I get down votes or thumbs down on my on my interviews, because like those people, like from what I don't want to say those people, right? But like those people are so like they're so diehard that like the more dislikes I get, the more I think it's a good interview, Right.
That's what's so weird about that's an example to give people who aren't metal fans. That's an example of like maybe Mobb Deep, or versus like E40, or a better example, Mobb Deep versus like Tupac. Tupac was not really street. He may have gotten in a fight and gotten himself shot. He wasn't really street. He was doing drama club, like he was acting. He wasn't really street, right? But sometimes as far as message over art, sometimes the message for some people gets so real that you're not as metal as me. You're not as hip hop. You're not as street as me. And the metal subconscious or conscious metal fighting between metalness, that's some serious shit sometimes.
Yeah. Black metal is an extreme metal. So basically with the extreme metals, there's like the root of extreme metals is death metal and black metal, and they just intertwine sometimes. But yeah, you got those two separate channels, but they're the extreme metal that like you'd never see a music video for the most part on MTV or anything like that of a black metal band or death metal. Actually, that's not completely true, because there was a few. Like Morbid Angel had one, and the band Death, Chuck, was actually his birthday not too long ago, other than he died like 20 years ago. So yeah, other than that, he was so metal that he got a brain tumor and died, because he's just, yeah.
That's pretty metal.
Right? Yeah.
So but there's levels to the black metal thing too, because what about Marduk?
Marduk is very, very black metal, yes.
But they're not street metal. You know what I mean? They're not like, because they have the face paint. They have like Kiss face paint.
They have the corpse paint. That's called corpse paint. You wouldn't call it Kiss paint.
I went to a show of theirs and I was having a fucking blast. But like, that's the thing with black metal is you're not supposed to have a fun. You're like, you can mosh, but you're supposed to be serious.
Yeah, yeah. That's the funny part about it, right? Like they don't even when you
I
don't
was
look like
laughing at all these fucking like, they have cold, makeup on and shit. I'm like singing about Satan or whatever.
Yeah, the first time Mayhem came to North America, I think that was like 2009. I was not ready to see Mayhem. I was not really into black metal yet, and I spent more time at the show laughing at the band than anything else because they've got like mannequin heads on the drums, like supposed to be like dead people, but it's clear cut mannequin heads, and I was just like, I wish I would have done more research on black metal before I went and made a fool out of myself just laughing at everything.
One time I went to a fucking, it's not metal, but one time I went to a Fishbone opening for Primus. And I had seen Fishbone maybe twice, maybe once before, and I had seen Primus. That was probably like my third or fourth time seeing Primus. And Fishbone's opening, and I'm wanting to mosh. And all these very serious Primus fans were like, no, we're not going to mosh until like, they were like mad at me for knocking into them. I'm like, you fucking turds. You have to like wait until you hear, oh, you went black.
Yeah, the thing went out for a second. I just got to go up to the switch box and turn the switch. I'll be back.
All right.
Like 1 second.
Okay. I like that. Make sure you subscribe, everybody. Make sure because you never know what's going to happen on Conservatish. Ooh. Let's see if I can do like a.
I'll just do the whole.
I don't know if this is entertaining at all, but you can see my head zoom from side to side. Look at that. Look at that fucking dome. Look at how sexy that is, goddammit. You see that? You so rarely get to see like this up close. You see that? You see that? That's a fucking dome right there. Is that a freckle? I think that's a freckle. I seem oily, but I'm not. I'm very clean. Hi, everybody. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening and all that shit. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. So I went into that Fishbone show where there's people very like serious. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like I don't like it when it's precious. You know what I mean? What crowds are the most unnecessarily precious? Like if maybe a death metal band the crowd would be precious but kind of funny. But like, are there some that are just take themselves really seriously to the point where it's not even a fun show?
No, that doesn't happen. I've never been to a show where people take themselves so seriously like that. And if they do, it's for the opening bands because they're I don't know them. And then that's the whole thing about being an opening band. It's proving yourself to the people around you that you're supposed to be there and why you're awesome. But I'd say as far as the stupidest pits that I've ever been in, that would have been like Limp Bizkit back in the early 2000s. Seriously? Because you get all those, they're called Chads now, but they go to that concert thinking that's a big metal show, right? And then they just basically hit people because they can.
Yeah. That was my experience at Tool. I've only seen Tool once, and I saw them at the Aftershock Festival a couple years ago in California. It was a festival. It was my only festival I ever went to. Don't really ever need to do that again. I don't know what the fuck. But I went to there, and they were headlining, and so it was a weird mishmash. And I've heard that Tool fans are this way anyway, but it's a weird mishmash because frat guys like Tool and metalheads like Tool. You know what I mean? Like frat guys like Stinkfist and metalheads like, Lateralists and the B-sides of whatever. So it's a weird kind of mix of things. And there's assholes who want to go at that Tool show who were like getting into like, who were like posted up to people. It's like, you're going to take a mosh pit seriously? You're going to fight at the fucking mosh pit? What a bag, dude. We're supposed to knock into each other and then pick each other up. That's what moshing is all about.
Yeah, you pick everyone up, if they fall. But something like that I remember was, it was Sounds of the Underground. This would have been like 2005. Lamb of God headlined that. It was like their first headlining tour, right? Because it was after Ashes of the Wake came out. But there was the younger, almost hardcore kids there, along with like the what they'd be called now would be elitist metalheads, And then because the hardcore kids, they do all the throwing the arms around and doing that stuff, and then you'd see like an old timer metalhead come in and try to stop them, and then you'd see all the little kids just swarm the metalhead. Like, yeah, it was something you could, yeah, because there was that division of what you're talking about. Like, this was all just heavy music. It's not like there was like jocks just there for the sake of it, you know. It was like we're all metalheads, just different generations and different subgenres, basically.
What bands can we avoid? Because I've heard the hardcore kids, I've heard the karate chops that they do. What bands should I avoid if I don't want to run into those kids?
I'm not gonna say anything because then you might miss a band that you actually like the band, but you just don't like the fans, and that happens.
You're just trying to protect your coming job at New Music.
What? No, I wouldn't do that. But no, but yeah, like there's like the more hardcore stuff, and like it's hardcore and metal. There's like, because there's always been that rift between them, and like that goes back to like the 80s, right? So yeah.
Is it? What's the division of hardcore? What don't
like there's hardcore that was more like that was more of an offshoot from punk, which was closer to like suicidal tendencies, that kind of stuff. And then there was then there was like the British new wave metal, and then into thrash metal, which at the time wasn't even called thrash metal, you know. You can tell who my favorite thrash metal band is. You can tell who my favorite thrash metal band is. You know, I got Vic right there.
Nice. So then, because I was going to mention Metallica, early Metallica. Are you one of those people who's like, I like early Metallica, but after
yes,
dead?
But like I still don't listen to them because like the riff has been over and like the feud has been done for so long, but like it's still alive in my mind because like with Dave being such an addict and everything, and me being an addict, you know, I have that connection there, so I like to keep it alive, you know, especially when Metallica has done such like some really shitty things over the years, right? Like when Lane Staley and Alice in Chains dropped out of the one tour, and because Lane Staley had to do some recovery stuff, go to treatment and stuff like that, and then they went on stage, did a bit of an Alice in Chains song and just butchered it, and just basically said that they said some really mean things. There's a clip on YouTube if you type in like Metallica making fun of Alice in Chains,
which is so shitty, because I remember them doing you know, friends don't let friends get haircuts on the Alice in Chains Unplugged. He wrote it on his guitar, not Jerry, but the other guitarist or bassist, I think, wrote it on his guitar. Friends don't let friends get haircuts after Metallica. Cut their hair.
Like not even counting haircuts, like that's silly too. If you want to cut your hair, cut your hair. But like also, he also made fun of them for like canceling it on that tour. And then what happened, I know it's years later, but like with alcohol, like heroin, alcohol, the guy, so James Hetfield in, what was it, 2019, had to cancel the Australia-New Zealand tour because he had to go to treatment for alcohol again. Like
again? I thought he'd been sober since the Monster movie or whatever the fuck.
No, he relapsed hard, and then they had to cancel the tour. So he's doing all the same things that Lane Staley did just because of alcohol, but no one calls him a shithead for that. Just because he called Lane Staley a shithead. So there's like all that, and yeah, I'll always be rooting for Dave. Like that, and the music's better, and he puts out more albums that are better, and yeah. So
and I also like he's not afraid to say fuck you. Like he speaks his mind, Dave.
No, Dave speaks his mind 100%. Like it was funny. George Stroumboulopoulos, who was a VJ for that Much Music thing, yeah, just don't mind the name and stuff. But he got his own show interviewing people. And when Dave was up in Canada doing a tour, he got to interview Dave on his show, and he asked him about Obama, and Dave said, "Yeah, but he wasn't born in the States." And like, for him to be on CBC, which is like the government-funded like Canadian channel, right, and say stuff like that, oh yeah, it was something else. Yeah.
Right. Quick side question. It's not metal related, but I know CBC obviously government related. Are there competitive news or whatever stations that are not, or is it all funneled through the government?
Especially after September 2019 when the liberal government paid $600 million to the media that they wanted to as a bailout. I know a bribe when I see one, right? Like that's what I'm going to call it. And then something happened like 6 to 7 months later. I don't know, but like they had to something happened at some point, and the media had to tell the stories over and over again until people believed it. I don't know. I'm not going to talk too much about that because I'm no expert, but I just know a bribe when I see one.
Right.
I mean, I'd lie for $600 million. I'd lie for a lot less than $600 million.
If I ordered you Little Caesars pizza, you'd probably lie right now for it.
It's got to be all dressed, but yeah.
All dressed? What's all dressed?
Well, that'd be like green peppers, mushrooms, pepperoni, not just cheese or just pepperoni, you know?
All dressed kilometers. Get the fuck out of here. Who's your favorite guest that you? I know it's who's one of or a couple of your favorite guests on Mental Health?
The first one, Stu Block. So basically what happened there was I've been following his career for 15 years as of this year. He was in the band Into Eternity, which is a Canadian band. They did pretty well with a couple of albums. And then after that, he got into the band Iced Earth. Which I know Blind Guardian, and the vocalist from Blind Guardian had a band with the guitarist from Iced Earth, which called Demons and Wizards, but his main thing was Iced Earth. And they've gone through, Stu was the third vocal, well, had a long period of time in the band, was the third vocalist. So that he joined them in about 2011 or so. And they put out 3 albums with Stu on it. But in 2018, I went to the concert, and I went real early just to hang out in line and see what I could do. I had like one of the flags of Iced Earth, and just to see if I could get it signed. I'm hanging out, just making friends in the lineup at the very front, and there was a guy in the very front that ended up having an extra VIP pass. He gave it to me, so I got to meet the band, get everything signed. Amazing, right? And I stopped the band before they were going to go back. I was like, you guys have entertained me for so long. Can I just do 2 minutes of stand-up comedy for you? Like, I'd love that, right? So I did 2 minutes of stand-up and had them laughing pretty good. And then after that show and everything, which was awesome, I ended up, I'd send Stu Block over Facebook messages and just let him know I'm doing, and send him some funny stuff and clips of things every now and then. And he'd get back to me every 6 months or so. And eventually it was he ended up after I sent him one set that he really liked, because by this point I've been getting clean, I got all my recovery jokes and stuff, and he started to really enjoy that. And he ended up once I did that relapse I was talking about, and I needed to do something or else I was just going to die, right? So that's when I came up with Mental Health. I asked him if I could interview him, and he said yes. So he was my first interview. And to jump into a huge interview like that, it was something pretty special. And since then, I've interviewed him twice in total, because once I got my legs with interviewing people, and I had a really cool intro, because like intro is pretty sweet, right?
It is. I fucking like that intro a lot. Yeah.
Right? And then I did Stu Block round 2, and actually I'm going on a road trip this week, and when I go past the town that he's in, because he's Canadian, we're having dinner, so it's cool. And yeah, right. And like now that we're like closer to being friends, I can't get him to sign anything because that would ruin the whole friendship, right? So what I'm gonna do is I've got my own T-shirts, right? So I'm gonna give him one of my T-shirts, sign it, and then tell him you'll make it with this singing stuff someday, bud. You know, I believe, right?
I like that.
Role reverse it hard, right?
Right. And that speaks to the going back a little bit to the peng dang shit or whatever the fuck. That speaks to like being nice. Like that makes a big fucking difference. I had a Craig Long, very outspoken ex-con, conservative speaker, business owner, fucking great guy. Had him on my show, and just like, listen, being kind to people when you're on your way up the ladder or when they're on their way up the ladder, being somebody who's trustworthy, who shows up, who communicates, blah, blah, blah. Not perfect, but like like being somebody who's consistent makes a big fucking difference. You don't really need to be like, LA with it. You don't need to be public relations with it. As long as you're nice, that makes a huge fucking difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So how often do you come up with episodes?
I try to do one once a week, but I don't even ask for money with Patreon or anything like that. So they'll get them when I do them.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't, every episode, I never ask for likes and shares and subscribes, make a comment, because I hate it when people do that too.
Well, God damn it, I'm going to defend myself. All right. Cause I fucking do it. Listen, if I have to play the game a little bit, listen, my followers already, everybody online is dumb as shit, especially if you're not in this game. My followers, especially, they are dumb as fuck. Okay. I can't, if they follow me, they're not like highly intelligent people. Yes, I'm shitting on you. But they are very good girls and I love them very much. Thank you for the titty pictures. But unless you kind of be a bit, not slimy, but there is something to some of the idea of, hey, you can't just like this. I'm not creating this in a vacuum. You do have to do a little bit of the game playing. I don't like it either. I don't. But, especially because they tune their ears out most of the time while I'm saying that shit. They're just like, yes, get to the guest.
Exactly. And if you do that at the end, I've already stopped watching because I know that the good stuff's over. So I press stop, right? Like if you do it at the very beginning, I'm just waiting for that to end so I can actually watch the meat and potatoes of whatever content it is. So I don't play that game. Like I understand why you do it and everything, but for me, it's like, if they can realize that I'm consistent and subscribe on their own, then that's good enough for me. I'm not gonna, and it's not even like begging, like it is kind of like it's begging, but like for me, it's just like I'm just gonna create my content, and I'm not doing it for everyone out there. I'm doing it for me too, right? So that's
Right.
I'm just trying to make me happy, and
And
if I can make other people happy at the same time, good.
Right, and that's absolutely valid. And there is definitely a lot of people, especially me and Mark talk about all the time, who are like, I'm thinking of one in particular. I won't mention his name because he's a nice guy. But there's some people who are like really high on promotion and low on talent. You know what I mean? And they're just promote. And it's just like, I don't like you as a performer, and I'm not gonna. But one thing I will also bring up, because I just posted about it today, is I lost 180 followers on my Instagram in one day.
Shadow banning.
Yes, because white liberals know what's best for everyone.
Like how they tell people, minorities, like not what to think, but like what to think.
Yeah. Elevate voices of person of color unless they don't say the things that we want them to. Then we'll shadow ban them. We'll take Bryson.
But then they're Uncle Tom's, and like they don't deserve to have an opinion in the first place.
Right.
Okay.
But one thing I will say to that is that me sharing about my struggles, what I'm going through, is a bit like opening the kimono, is a bit like letting people in on my struggle with that. And people don't realize it's not just something for me to get it out, because if I don't say fuck these people, I can't sleep at night. You know what I mean? And it's also kind of gaslighting, because I sat there for like a day going like, am I crazy? Did I have this amount of followers before? I thought it was 180 fucking more. And it turns out I was right. But like, so it's helpful for me to get it out, but it also is helpful for my fans and the people who love and support me, because they don't know. They have a job at HR, they have a job at a bank, they have a job doing whatever the fuck they're doing, and they have one track of how to get successful. Patrice used to talk about it all the time. If you are a doctor, it may be difficult, but at least it's clear on how to become one. You go to school for a set amount of time, you do your internship, and then now you're a motherfucking doctor. With this entertainment, comedy, music, whatever, it's a free fall. It's a free fall the entire fucking time. And so to share that with the people who want to support me but don't realize what's going to help, don't realize what, hello, you keep fucking voting for Biden. I don't want to hear you say, I wonder why Pete's not famous. You keep giving money and the keys to the cocksuckers who are canceling people. Don't be fucking confused anymore. And sharing that, including the faggoty shit like and subscribe, it does make a bit of a difference. Now I know maybe you're doing it in a different way, and I don't shame you for it, but I will defend myself a little bit on that.
Yeah. That was a long speech. Like, I feel like we're in court right now. The court's over Zoom up here now, so.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm grateful I haven't. One time I got pulled over. I think I was like 6 years sober, 5 years. Yeah, I think I was like 6 or 7 years sober, and I had gotten my license taken away because of tickets that I didn't pay in California. But I was in Oregon, and so I just figured it's fine. And so I got a car, and then I remember I got pulled over with no license. You know what I mean? Like in a car that like I had just paid shitty, $1,000 for or whatever. Like I remember that was a hard one. It was like, okay, I'm gonna let you go home, but you are not to drive this car besides just driving this home. And they, I mean, I didn't get arrested or anything, so God bless them. But yeah, you can still go to court and go to prison or go to jail sober.
Yeah. I remember the first time going through a ride program. I don't know what they have in the States, but like every now and then they'll just have like the police, and you get there and they ask you if you've been drinking. It's called a ride program, and they stop you and just they don't go into the car or anything. They just ask for like they ask you a few questions and then let you go on your way. And like an active addiction, scared as hell if you were to get one, right? And then the first time you get one when you're clean, and it's just like, haha, suckers, should have tried me 3 months ago.
Right. I actually, one time I was at a conference for the Secret Sewing Club in California. And it was for a conference where we bring some of our secret, club meetings into prisons and hospitals and things like that. We're at this little conference, and they had set up a DUI checkpoint right outside of the fucking conference. So everybody going through, it's just like, yeah, here's my badge. Just like, all right, go. All right, go. Like it was fun.
Yeah, it was funny.
So let's start wrapping up. But what do you got going on the burners these days? What's going on?
I've got a bunch of sketches in my head right now that I want to finish, because I've got some that I've already done, but I've got like part 2s and part 3s to that I want to do, and
like,
a couple of
like give us an example.
I have a sketch called Love and Metal. It's about a metalhead's first time getting to have sex while listening to metal, and he's more focused on the music than the act. Right, so I have that sketch. It's already done. It looks pretty amateur porny, but like still it's fun. And like I'm doing all this myself. I write it myself, I film it myself, act in it, and I edit it, right? So
do you show your penis though?
No, there's no body parts that wouldn't be allowed on TV if this was TV, right?
Because I could see your pubes actually, if they look like your hair, would be actually quite epic.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look at that.
Right.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah. So I've got that sketch done. I'm working on part 2. I'm not going to give away my secrets. Don't want someone to take it, right? But part 2. Let's just gonna say it's going to feature talking about the band Aborted, Dying Fetus, and Infant Annihilator. We'll say that's the premise of the part 2. All right.
Is that similar to cattle decapitation?
Well, not really, because that's about cattle decapitation. If you listen to what I'm saying with the 3 band names, the first one was called Love and Metal,
right?
Where he had sex for the first time. Part 2 is going to involve the band's Aborted,
like
Infant Annihilator.
Well, yes, but
Dying Fetus.
But those are bands.
Those are bands. Those are bands.
It's a similar band to cattle decapitation.
But yeah, it's death metal, all right, right? But like, yeah. Cattle decapitation. I actually really enjoy the newest album the most. That's cool. But actually, what I did was they had a bundle where you buy a record and you get a shirt and a long sleeve shirt and a hoodie, but they all have the exact same thing on. So when I'm doing stand up, if I'm wearing that, I'll wear the hoodie with the long sleeve shirt on underneath. And like, there's one joke about, actually it's about Vinnie Paul from Pantera, right? And then once that's getting my basically applause break, I say it's kind of hot in here, take off the hoodie, revealing the shirt that's the exact same thing underneath, right? So that always gets a good laugh. Yeah. Right. But another sketch I have Crisis Metal Hotline. It's where I have a hotline. People call in, describe a situation, and I tell them whether it's metal or not. That's metal, you know?
Nice.
Right? And so I've got part 2 and part 3 in my head right now for that.
Very nice. Have you it's a bit of a weird band, because you mentioned Limp Bizkit earlier. Obviously, we all kind of had to like Limp Bizkit back.
It was new metal. It was like 20 years ago. You could not listen to Limp Bizkit, right?
But Big Dumb Face.
Never heard of them.
You never heard of Big Dumb Face?
I've never heard of Big Dumb Face.
I'm so happy that I know a metal band that you don't know.
Well, there's so many metal bands. It's not hard. Plus, I was doing like drugs. Like I basically tapped out of the metal scene to do drugs and be schizophrenic for a while too. So
Sure,
right? I'm getting back in, and this is helping me a lot. So
well, Big Dumb Face is Wes Borland and his
okay,
brother,
yeah.
and they made an album. They have a second one that came out a couple of years, I think like 2 years ago. But their first one was back, I think must have been like 4
or 5.
It was way back then. And it's just them. What they did is they were in a house together, just recording this album, him and his brother. It's some of the weirdest, like there's like a ding 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 boom boom boom. So like there's that type of song, and then there's weird like hard, I think the opening line is "Oh Lord, bathe me in flame," and then there's like it's violent. It's a lot of fun. So check out Big Dumb Face. Duke Lion Fights the Terror, I think is the name of that album. It's fucking miraculous. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, anything else that Wes Borland has done is dog shit. I don't know what his problem is, but Big Dumb Face is really good.
But it looks cool on stage with the makeup though.
Yeah, and the black black context, that is kind of cool. That is kind of cool. All right, so anything else on the horizon?
Check out New Music Nation. The stuff should be coming out around like maybe late June for that. I don't know. Because that's
is it a website or a channel?
It's a website, but it's also gonna be like on YouTube and Instagram and things like that. So it's like gonna be MTV, but like a new version of that with the classic style of much music with VJs and doing stuff. Yeah.
For your show, do you know if you're going to focus mostly on older stuff, or you?
No, like we're trying on to do new independent Canadian stuff at first, right, and then make it bigger from there, so we can actually show the bands that need to be shown rather than the people that have been around forever and are already really popular, right? So there's that. So we're gonna start off with music videos like about independent metal bands and stuff like that. Take it from there. The cool thing about doing Mental Health is like I've interviewed people like from basically all around Europe and the States and stuff too, right? So it's cool. Not all of them are big metal bands, but I'm actually friends with some of them now a bit. Not like Facebook friends, not friends, but good enough. They answer my messages every now and then, right? And that's a really cool part because it feels cool to be talking to people from all around the world, and it's fun. But I lost my train of thought.
No, and I appreciate that because when you were talking about independent shit, because not only am I an independent music person, but also that's what VJs and DJs used to do, or at least DJs, is they would have my 3-hour block of whatever when I'm in charge of K-Fuck 101, whatever. And I would be in charge of putting on what I thought would be good, and sometimes hits or whatever, but what I think my people would like. And so people would come to that station for your block to listen to your recommendations, new stuff, blah, blah, blah. That's what it used to be. And then payola took over, and now a record company could come in with some cocaine or with some money or with some this. And now they're going to play specifically what they were paid to play. And then, have you ever seen the documentary Before the Music Dies?
No, but there's the YouTuber Beto or something like that, Beto, where he talks about like just how terrible the record companies are and they'll manipulate the people into doing what they want. This day and age, like, because you don't get the big money from record labels now anyways, you're just basically signed to a contract. And like any money they give you, they get the money back. Like you don't, like if you don't look into the contract, like if they give you $500,000 and they'll get that $500,000 back before you start making money.
Right. they'll do sneaky shit like, oh, we're gonna pay for this this party
music video or anything like that.
Yeah, for the music video, and then you find out later that they took it out of your money to do it.
Yeah, exactly, right. So like with and like you don't get signed to the big deals like they would have before 2010, once everything went to strictly internet. It turns out like Lars wasn't that wrong about Napster, but I'll admit that. I'll go that far. But so like it's almost better off to just get your following before you get to the record label. That way you have more leverage for when you sign a deal. Because if you don't have leverage, then you won't end up owning the music you make, and then you're just doing it all for nothing, basically. Because if you don't actually own your music, then that's when you don't make any money. So yeah.
Right. And I'll just put in one last thing. Again, everybody go watch not only Mental Health, but also this documentary. It's an old one. It's like maybe 12, 15 years old. It was called Before the Music Dies. And it's about how Clear Channel is Satan. And maybe it was Satan back then, and now it's a bunch of different companies, but they would essentially, they owned the majority of radio stations. They set up where like it's all controlled through them. So even though you're listening to, oh, I'll switch from this channel to that channel in a given area, in a given market, it's still owned by fucking Clear Channel. So they still have the decision. They still get the payola. They still get all the stuff to play what is curated, what is perfect. And they do a great breakdown of it.
Sounds like the people that own all the media outlets.
And the comedy clubs.
Yeah.
It's
everything.
Yeah. Just as a quick last note, you can't say, liberals, you can't say that you're fighting, you're no longer raging against the machine, liberals. You're no longer raging against the machine. You are the machine. You are the machine. University, ABC, NBC, Clear Channel, Spotify, Starbucks, BET, NFL, NBA, every single fucking company, every university, every hospital.
Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They all agree with you, and that makes you not the resistance.
Right, right. Speaking of the resistance, one more time, where can people find you, Robbie?
All right, basically Mental Health. I'm pretty sure Peter, a bipedal. But Peter will put a link in this to my channel for Mental Health and New Music Nation once that starts up.
Awesome. And wherever you're listening, ladies and gentlemen, wait a second. Yeah, didn't you just broke your own rule, you bastard? You're not supposed to.
Hey, this isn't mine. This is yours.
I'm going to send you a Little Caesars in a minute. It's going to be all dressed or whatever the fuck it is.
What am I lying about?
What?
You said I said I'd do that for a lie. What am I lying about for this?
Oh, tell us what tell us you like the lead singer of Metallica.
James Hetfield is a good person, and I really enjoy listening to all of his opinions, and he's always right. I'm sure he's not fucked up at all from having his parents choose to die than not getting the medical treatment they could have to save their lives, and that's why he's a messed up alcoholic now. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. All right, everybody, make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. Find me on Instagram at CONSERVATISH or Peter_Feliciano. Find me on Twitter at Rule62Peter. You can find me on Facebook, whatever for now. And I will, ladies and gentlemen, I will be putting together a giant party. It might be a smaller party, but I think we're gonna do it fucking big. Barbecue, music, whatever. We're gonna have fun. Specifically geared toward non-liberal people of color. It's going to be in Manhattan area, maybe Brooklyn, but it's going to be non-liberal people of color. Yes, white people, you can come. But I want to specifically for that, because if we don't put out the message that we're fucking here and you're not our goddamn ally, I swear to God, we can't make them change through their channels. We have to step outside of social media, and that's the way we're going to do it. So there you go. Thank you so much, Robbie, for joining us, and I'll go ahead and stop the recording now.
Thank you.